step behind the curtain of the Enlightenment's greatest mind. While the world knows Sir Isaac Newton for gravity and prisms, the architect of reality delves into the secret life that fueled his unified genius. This isn't just a lecture on physics, it's a journey into the alchemical manuscripts and theological puzzles Newton obsessed over in the shadows. By bridging his public science with his private mysticism, we uncover a man who didn't just observe the universe. He sought to reverse engineer its divine design. Prepare to meet the real Newton, a brilliant, complex figure whose pursuit of truth knew no boundaries between the laboratory and the sacred. Reality, it seems, had a much more mysterious architect than we were taught. Meet the man who lived in two worlds at once. On one side, we have the first of the age of reason, the icon who defined gravity and optics through 3 million words of rigorous logic. Yet, the same hand penned over 6 million words dedicated to the last of the magicians. Newton's pursuit of the Prisca Sapientia, ancient, hidden truth, led him from the laboratory to the alchemical furnace and the study of biblical prophecy. While we see a contradiction, Newton saw a unified quest. To him, calculus and alchemy were merely different dialects used to read the mind of God. He wasn't just a scientist, he was a polymath decoding the divine architecture of everything. To understand the mind that mapped the stars, we must first look at the shadows of Woolsthorpe. Newton's life began in 1642 with fragility and loss, born so small he could fit in a mug, to a father already in the grave. But the deepest wound came in 1645, a 9-year abandonment by his mother that sparked a terrifying, silent rage. By his teens, he was confessing to dark fantasies of burning his family alive. When he finally arrived at Trinity College in 1661, he wasn't just a student. He was a deeply withdrawn survivor. This childhood trauma didn't just define his isolation, it fueled the obsessive, solitary drive that would eventually redefine reality itself. Imagine fleeing a deadly plague only to rewrite the laws of the universe. Between 1665 and 1667, Isaac Newton retreated to Woolsthorpe, marking a year of wonders that defined modern science. In this isolation, he constructed a triumvirate of discovery. In mathematics, he birthed calculus, his method of flux science, and the binomial theorem. In optics, his prism experiments shattered long-held beliefs, revealing that white light is a hidden spectrum of color. Most famously, the legendary fall of an apple sparked a celestial realization: the gravity anchoring us to Earth is the same force holding the moon in orbit. In just 2 years, Newton laid the pillars of the physical world, proving that brilliance thrives even in the darkest of times. In 1687, Newton shattered the ancient divide of the cosmos. For centuries, the Aristotelian view held that the earth and heavens operated under separate laws, one of decay, the other of perfection. With the Principia Mathematica, Newton united them under a single, clockwork framework. By defining the laws of inertia, F equals ma, and action-reaction alongside universal gravitation, he proved that a falling stone and a circling planet obey the same divine mechanics. This publication eradicated doubt regarding heliocentricity, providing the keys to a universe of absolute order and predictability. Newton didn't just describe the world, he revealed a cohesive, mechanical reality where the same rules apply from the ground beneath our feet to the farthest reaches of space. Step into the shadow laboratory of the world's greatest rationalist. While his peers built modern chemistry, Newton pursued the secret science of alchemy. His goal? The vegetative principle, a divine, animating force he believed drove the transmutation of matter. For Newton, this wasn't just science, it was a high-stakes theology where he viewed this vital spark as Jesus acting as God's viceroy in creation. Through decades of clandestine experiments and the study of esoteric texts, he sought to return matter to its original, divine form. This slide reveals a man who didn't see a wall between the laboratory and the sacred, proving that for the architect of reality, even a flask of mercury was a window into the mind of God. To Newton, the universe wasn't just a machine to be measured, it was a riddle wrapped in stone and scripture. In this divine cryptogram, we see him trading his prism for a blueprint. Convincing himself that the Temple of Solomon's geometry held the secret proportions of the cosmos, he mastered Hebrew just to strip the book of Ezekiel of its mysteries. But beneath these architectural puzzles lay a dangerous truth: Newton was a silent heretic. He viewed the Holy Trinity as a historical fraud, a belief that would have ended his career in an instant. Here, the great rationalist becomes a holy detective, applying rigorous deduction to prophecy in a desperate bid to decode God's ultimate message before the world could decode him. Newton applied the same mathematical precision to biblical prophecy as he did to planetary motion. By decoding the book of Daniel's times, and half a time, he converted prophetic days into 1,260 years. Adding this to the coronation of Charlemagne in 800 AD, he calculated a pivotal date, 2060. However, this wasn't a prediction of doomsday. For Newton, 2060 represented a spiritual renewal and the fall of a corrupt church. Ever the seeker of order, he shared this calculation not to incite panic, but to restrain rash date-setters who brought scripture into disrepute. Even in the timeline of the apocalypse, Newton demanded a logical framework, proving that to the architect, even the end of days must follow a formula. Newton's obsession with order extended far beyond physics. He sought to fix history itself. In this recalibration of the past, Newton utilized the precession of the equinoxes and ancient astronomical data to challenge established timelines. By mathematically analyzing stellar positions mentioned in old texts, he moved legendary events like the Argonautic expedition forward by nearly 5 centuries, dating it to 939 BC. This wasn't merely a scholarly exercise. It was a calculated effort to prove that Greek and Egyptian empires were far younger than they claimed. By shrinking the pagan past, Newton aimed to ensure the historical primacy of Hebrew scripture. To this architect of reality, even the flow of human time required the corrective hand of mathematical proof. In 1696, the architect of reality left the quiet halls of Cambridge to save a nation on the brink of financial collapse. England's economy was crumbling under the weight of debased, clipped silver coins. As master of the mint, Newton didn't just manage, he engineered. He implemented reeded edges to thwart counterfeiters and applied rigorous time and motion studies to increase production nearly 7-fold. His industrial revolution within the mint stabilized the economy, and his 1717 report fixed the gold guinea's value, inadvertently anchoring Britain to the gold standard for 2 centuries. From the laws of motion to the flow of currency, Newton proved that even the chaos of a national crisis could be tamed by the hand of a master logician. Witness the transformation of a scholar into a relentless lawman. When the notorious counterfeiter William Chaloner dared to challenge the crown, Isaac Newton hunted him with the same obsession he applied to the stars. Trading the laboratory for the London underworld, Newton ran undercover operations and personally interrogated suspects in the Tower of London, eventually sending Chaloner to the gallows in 1699. But his justice was also mathematical. Newton applied scientific rigor to the mint, slashing weight variances and introducing the trial of the pix to ensure metal purity. For the architect of reality, maintaining the integrity of a coin was as sacred as the laws of physics, because truth, like gravity, must be absolute. Behind the cold logic of the Principia beat the heart of a relentless warrior. Newton did not merely disagree with his peers, he sought to erase them. To Robert Hooke, who challenged his theories on gravity and light, Newton's response was a chilling silence, withholding his masterpiece, optics, until Hooke was in the grave. Against Gottfried Leibniz, he waged a shadow war over the invention of calculus, secretly authoring the very report that condemned his rival. Even the royal astronomer, John Flamsteed, could not escape. Newton leveraged his administrative power to seize and publish Flamsteed's life's work against his will. In the architect's world, the laws of the universe were absolute, and so was his dominance over any who dared to cross him. Behind the cold logic of the Principia beat the heart of a relentless warrior. Newton did not merely disagree with his peers, he sought to erase them. To Robert Hooke, who challenged his theories on gravity and light, Newton's response was a chilling silence, withholding his masterpiece, optics, until Hooke was in the grave. Against Gottfried Leibniz, he waged a shadow war over the invention of calculus, secretly authoring the very report that condemned his rival. Even the royal astronomer, John Flamsteed, could not escape. Newton leveraged his administrative power to seize and publish Flamsteed's life's work against his will. In the architect's world, the laws of the universe were absolute, and so was his dominance over any who dared to cross him. In 1727, the architect of reality laid down his pen, leaving behind a world forever changed. Isaac Newton's true legacy isn't just a set of laws or a prism, but the very foundation of modern thought. By marrying observation with mathematical proof, he gifted humanity the scientific method, the engine of progress. He stands as the ultimate bridge, the last of the magicians who dared to decode the divine, and the first of the scientists who gave us the Enlightenment. From the steam of the Industrial Revolution to the silicon of today, we live in the house that Newton built. He didn't just explain the universe, he showed us how to think our way through it. For those seeking to peer further through the prism of Newton's complex life, the journey is just beginning. Our investigation concludes by opening the doors to the world's most elite archives and scholarly minds. From Indiana University's digital database of alchemical secrets to the University of Oxford's vast repository of his theological and administrative labor, the trail of the architect remains fresh. Dive into the definitive works of a life and Dobbs to reconcile the heresy with the genius. Whether you are hunting for the Janus faces of his worldview or the hidden chemistry of his soul, these resources serve as your final map. The architect of reality has left the stage, but his blueprints are yours to explore.